here we are, guys. The map is Metropolis, and we have our Protoss player in the purple from Dream Team Gaming. He is their ace. It is Sickness. And at the top of the map in the blue with the 12 o'clock position, winning 2 games already for his team. Today in this team match, we have Evil Genius's IDrA.
That's right. And so this is certainly much different map than Taldra Malter, so predictably no early pool out of IDrA. Now, of course, if everything goes according to plan, more than likely we're going to see that pool, then hatch, and we'll see how long he decides to wait on no gas or how quickly he wants to move up into the infestor world and higher tech from the roach phase. Sickness, though, pretty predictable out of him, too. Dropping down that pylon up at the front, and looks to be a Forge Fast expand, but he certainly could throw us for a loop here with a gateway. Yep,
certainly could. Wouldn't be the first time that we've seen that type of thing in PvZ lately, and PvZ is kind of the matchup that everybody's talking about, right? Because it's one that we see so much because of the issues that Terran have been having, getting very far in tournaments that are not the GSL. And it's one that's been analyzed to death lately. I mean, the 3-hatch style, everyone's talked about it. You've got the Stefano style that everybody knows at this point. We've got all the variations with Infestors, Mutalisks, and all that. I feel like Zerg versus Protoss is one of the most figured out matchups right now in StarCraft 2, which means that it's time for Protoss players especially to start really innovating. So I think we're about to see in the next month or two a pretty big change in how this matchup is played.
And we want to go ahead and let you guys know a little secret as well. If you guys are finding yourselves in Southern California in the LA area on July 7th, you want to go ahead and mark your calendars. You know, there's going to be this 4-player StarCraft 2 event there, double elimination tournament for $10,000.
Did we announce that? I guess we did.
No,
I guess we are right now.
We're not going to tell you. We're still we'll get details out as far as location and tickets and everything like that. But you know, MVP Dongre, Liquid Hero, Slayers, MMA, Quantic Illusion. Those are pretty good players for a tournament, huh?
Yeah, that's going to be 4 players that I'm going to enjoy watching play. And,
not bad, huh?
And they're going to actually be there. It's going to be a live tournament, too.
That's right.
Yes.
So stay tuned, guys, to all of our various different social media. Twitter or Facebook is at IGNProLeague, or you can check out IGN.com/IPO. We'll have details coming for you guys very, very soon. But again, we'll be July 7th in LA. So there you are.
I can't wait for that, man. MMA versus DRG.
I get to cast MMA versus DRG? Seriously? Yeah, that's going to be amazing.
Oh, in one of my opinions, probably one of the top 3, maybe the top, but at least top 3 for sure, games I've ever casted in my StarCraft 2 casting career was DRG versus MMA in a really amazing Team League match. It was a Game 7, and it was just absolutely crazy. MMA ended up winning that. It was on Metropolis. But what an astounding game. It seems like whenever those two get together, we just see like some of the best series in StarCraft 2. So, yeah, we're going to get to see him play live on July 7th in the LA area.
That's right. So
more details to come. Ooh. Well, there you go.
You guys know everything of importance. We'll just let it, everything's locked down. We're just clearing everything up for our press release that's going to come here pretty soon.
We just got impatient, basically, is what it is.
Yeah, that's what I do.
Yeah.
Now, I love what Sickness is doing. He's full walling up at the front here along with this destructible debris. This map is Metropolis. It's a very easy map to do something like, say, Robo after this. Wow, he's actually going, he went for a 1-gas variant after the Forge Fast expand. Didn't even notice that. That's very, very cool. But this is very easy to go ahead and put a Robo down, produce a bunch of sentries, 2 immortals, knock down the destructible debris, and take an early 3rd. And you can be very, very safe and survive against that heavy, heavy roach aggression from Zerg players.
Yep, that's about right. IDrA putting down his 3rd, that feels a little bit late to me, honestly. So I'm kind of curious, and he's getting 2 gas immediately after starting the 3rd, too. Okay, so yeah, that 3rd did end up being a little bit late for IDrA. What's the drone count right now?
The drone count is 26.
Okay, 26. All right, so that's about normal. We're going to see kind of a big wave of drones come out here from IDrA in the next few moments. But normally a lot of Zerg players will wait until about the 40th supply mark to start making the gas. And here we are at 40th supply, and they're already done. So a little bit earlier gas from IDrA. Kind of curious to see what he's going to do. Zergs have liked going Mutalisks on this map, but you need to be very careful. This is a map where it's really easy for Protoss to come with a 2-base push and kill off that 3rd, just because it is a little bit more separated from the main and the natural on this map as it is on other ones.
2 Zealots making their way out now for Sickness. Unfortunately, though, it looks like there's going to be enough here to go ahead and drive this away, although Sickness is controlled pretty good there. Not losing a single unit does deny the Creep Tumor and kills the Zergling at the same time. IdrA, of course, going down that familiar path, but he is joining up quite aggressively behind this, just making sure his gas gets up a little bit higher than normal, so we may see a bit quicker layer tech out of him, too.
Yep, and you can see him saving Larva a little bit. Right now is one of those points where you do kind of need to save a little bit and sort of feel out what your opponent's doing, decide if you can use that to make drones or if you do have to make units to stay safe. That's why we see some Zerglings coming out across the map right now, because IdrA wants to know what he should do with this money. He's making 8 roaches just to stay on the safe side, and you know, with seeing those units out on the map, I'd say that's a decision a lot of Zerg players would make. But usually after this, you kind of wait for a moment. You're like, all right, do I need more units? If you do, you make them. If not, you can make a big round of drones. Try to get towards that 70-ish mark that you want to hit, and then decide where to go from there.
There indeed, we do have Robo and a few additional gates coming up now, so this is pretty familiar to a lot of Protoss players, I assume. And so we'll probably see some Immortal production here in just a bit as well. Going to go ahead and start with that Observer for now, and warp in his second Forge, and Twilight Council to set himself up on upgrades.
Yep, okay. Lair going down for IdrA. Got the upgrades, like you mentioned, on the way for Sickness. IdrA, though, looking like he wants to be a bit aggressive here at this point.
Yeah, that's right. So he's got some gas saved up because he did start those earlier.
Oh, and here he goes. Only one cannon.
That's right. Just one cannon up in the front, but there are a few sentries here to try and lock some units down with a bit of firepower from the +1 Stalkers behind.
Yeah, you do need to be a little bit careful when you move in like that. You don't want to get your units trapped against the wall with those force fields. I mean, there weren't a lot of Stalkers there, so it would have taken a while to kill some roaches, but still, just not a position you want to be in as a Zerg player at all. And I like IdrA's decision to get that +1 Carapace first. A lot of Zerg players will get a +1 missile if they're planning on being aggressive, but if you're planning on sitting back and playing for that later game, a lot of Zergs will choose the +1 Carapace over that, just because obviously it makes it take 3 hits for Zealots to kill Zerglings, and it does make your roaches a little bit more durable as well. So looks like IdrA's going to be playing the defensive game. Yeah, there's the Infestation Pit, so no sort of, you know, roach maxing, all-in-ish craziness from IdrA this time. He's going to go ahead and go for that Broodlord late game, it looks like.
And it looks like Sickness is going down that Immortal Path. 6 gates now, double forges, heavy upgrades, playing a very, very passive brand of PvZ, and it's certainly worked out for a lot of Protoss players recently, so it's not too surprising to see him going down that route.
Yeah, now right now, Dream Team Gaming Sickness is on the timer has begun, so to speak. When a Zerg player goes for this late game Broodlord tech like IdrA is, the late game comes very quickly. We're probably going to see, if IdrA does go right up to it like I'm thinking he will, we're going to see Broodlords hitting the map at around the 15 or 16 minute mark. It's going to be very, very fast. Although, I got to say, he hasn't thrown down his Spire yet. So we may see a little bit of a delay, too. I guess that's one kind of big thing that I missed. But it doesn't matter. Sickness still has this kind of timing where Protoss doesn't necessarily want to go up against a very quickly late game oriented Zerg player. So we'll see if IdrA decides to do it. He's like throwing off what I'm thinking here. He's like going for something that very much looks like what we see a lot of other Zergs do, but no, now he's looking at taking it fourth. So
yeah, there's
playing his own game.
There's going to be 86 workers here in a second as well. Yeah, so 86 workers to 56 at the moment. Of course, Sickness is continuing to build some back at home, but you know, IdrA's been pretty passive too. He's playing for that super late game as you mentioned before, but he's allowing Sickness to kind of have control of his side of the map, and as we can see, Sickness is very well defended. He's got the Templar Archives. He'll probably see a Stargate coming up pretty soon here, so he can eventually move into Fleet Beacon and Mothership. So he himself is remaining very well defended. I love the decision to complete the full wall, not even worry about it. Even cannons on the high ground here. He's got a few extra minerals to make that happen. So very, very cool stuff out of Sickness.
Definitely. He's also got those Templars starting up right now, so he will have Storm and the possibility to make some Archons as well. But I will have to see how IdrA's philosophy works out in this game. Right now he's saying, all right, I know that you're going to want to probably attack me once you get maxed on 3 bases. When that happens, I want to be able to crush your army and then be on like 2 to 3 or maybe like 1 or 2 bases ahead of you at that point as well. So IdrA now throwing down that Spire, just kind of like I said, getting ready for the late game, but in a way that he's going to want to engage his opponent's army in the middle of the map and then just try to remax and do well from that.
And IdrA indeed is going after that Lair Tech and Spire both at once now. Back on Sickness's side of things, Stargate finally started, so he will be able to move towards that fleet beacon here in just a bit. But he's investing so much into upgrades at the moment. +3 attacks, +2 armor. Stargate coming up now, may want to take a third base here in a bit. He does have enough resources banked that he can decide to go for a very huge army right now if he wants to, but he's just kind of waiting for a bit. The gateway infrastructure could be a little bit better. He's got 6, 8 gateways up. He'll certainly want some more in a bit. Oh, wow, double Stargates. We may even see, he's certainly going to make a couple of Void Rays. We may even see an eventual carrier switch here in a bit. Yeah, Sickness is playing in a very strange way, going for a 4th, actually, not going for that 3-base max like a lot of Protoss players have been doing in this matchup. And now IdrA, you know, he might be kind of scratching his head a little bit, saying, all right, well, now how do I use this? Do I just kind of continue to take more bases? Well, first he's going to need to worry about these Zealots. That's right. And we do have Fleet Beacon coming up along with a Void Ray now for Sickness. So that Fleet Beacon going to be here in just a second. We may just see those carriers and motherships. Oh, he's trying to get down the hatchery as quick as possible. The Zealots are pretty powerful, but it looks like they're going to be killed just in time. Hatchery down to 379 hit points. Yeah, IdrA even using some fungals to do the extra damage. He wanted to make sure that no matter what happened, he kept that hatchery alive, and I think that was a great decision on his part. Researching drops, actually, along with all these other upgrades, going for his Greater Spire as well. So he's going to be able to get out some Broodlords in the near future here. He doesn't have a lot of gas, though, so we're going to see him start to kind of save that up. But he's got the minerals to go ahead and throw down a couple more bases, so we may see him try to do that. We'll see. He could actually take the islands, too. I'm curious to see what he plans on using that drop upgrade for his Overlords. This is insane. Both players just trying to say... they want to out-passive the other guy is what it feels like. So we are playing for the super late game. We're going to be sub 17 minutes. We're going to have motherships. We're going to have +1 air attacks, multiple Void Rays, 5 base Protoss potentially in a second behind 1,000,000 cannons against 5 base Zerg that's going to be on Broodlords here in just a couple of minutes. That is insane. Yeah, it's gotten to the point where the late game for StarCraft 2, you know, it used to start around like the 20-minute mark or so as we see IdrA taking out these Zealots trying to kill that hatchery. They will not be successful there. But yeah, the late game for StarCraft 2 keeps moving up and moving up as players get better at staying safe and teching, you know, efficiently. So now the late game in StarCraft 2, oh man, he just lost that. Wow, that had, I hope that had Zealots in it. It did, yes. Okay, good. So, yeah, the late game for StarCraft 2 really does start now around the 14 to 15-minute mark in a lot of matchups. So it really is amazing how far StarCraft 2 has come as far as the, you know, how polished the strategies are now that the players use. And Sickness is on the max supply he's been in this game, 145. He's just trying to just sit back and produce the absolute highest quality units he can. So it's going to be all High Templar, Void Rays, Immortals, Mothership. Sounds like you're advertising for him. He's like, Sickness, bringing you the highest quality units he can. Oh, but he's going to have to contend with a very low-tech drop as it is going to be mass Zerglings making their way in. Sickness bringing back just High Templar to deal with this. All right, well, content for using some energy on that. Oh, man, IdrA, though, he's like, oh, free Templar? Yes, please. Oh, storms and does join one Archon, but lost a couple of Templar there. That's certainly not good. And that was outright killed, not canceled. Oh, wow, yeah. Sickness making 2 big mistakes there. One in letting that Nexus die, the other in trading High Templar for Zerglings. That is never something you want to do as a Protoss player. At the same time, we have a drop inside of the main as well. Looks like the Void Rays are going to be able to clean this up. I'm sure IdrA not too thrilled to see a good number of Void Rays out there, and it doesn't look like this is going to do that much damage, but still very annoying for Sickness to deal with. Well, IdrA will be able to get out enough Corruptors that it shouldn't be that much of a problem, but it's interesting. Such a weird way of playing from Sickness right now, deciding to just keep his army so low as he decides to expand. IdrA a little bit low on resources because of all the Broodlords he made. He's not able to quite remax as quickly as he would want to in this situation, but he does have a very strong air army here with those Infestors to kind of augment that as well. So I feel like we're probably going to see IdrA, you know, get that max and then start to kind of slowly push his way across the map fairly soon. And we'll see here what's going to follow up for Sickness now. He's just continuing to add on to that Void Ray count. He's going to be on 8 here in a second. +1 attacks is finished up for those Void Rays, and they are the beneficiary of a shield upgrade as well, but no armor or anything has been started, no second cybernetic score. Sometimes we will see that in these scenarios. So let's take stock of things. 13 Corruptors, 11 Broodlords, 8 Infestors, 1,000,000 Spine Crawlers for IdrA at the moment. That's going up against, it looks like 2 more Broodlords are morphing in. That's going to go up against 8 Void Rays, a Mothership, 10 High Templar, an Archon, and a couple of Immortals.
Well, this is a bit crazy here. I mean, I don't think too many Zerg players are used to Protoss just sitting back and being like, hey, I'm just going to keep taking bases. I'll just keep kind of making units and making it so that you can't really directly attack me. And we'll kind of see where things go in the late game. So, yeah, bring it on, IdrA.
All right. Well, those Void Rays are certainly going to be under attack here in a second if these Corruptors nudge forward any farther. That is a lot of Corruptors, 16 of them, as a matter of fact, on 1/1 upgrades with +2 weapons on the way. And here come the Broodlords. What is Sickness going to do about this? He does have enough for a Vortex.
And he also does have that cloaking field that the Mothership does offer. Oh, Vortexing nearly all the Corruptors. What? Feedbacking the Infestors.
Wow.
Oh, man.
That was really well done. He gets
Sickness.
a storm underneath the Broodlords there. Not just his name, but also his play, Sickness, there, as the Mothership going to provide the appropriate cloaking field for everything else. Overseers trying to rush onto the field to play. Looks like the Mothership may fall here in a second, but it's going to come at the expense of a lot of those Corruptors. A very smart thing. Void Rays actually targeting out a few of the Broodlords, and Sickness is able to win the engagement. What a crazy fight.
I have never seen a Zerg army.
And IdrA letting us know what he feels.
Hold up. Let me break this down a little bit here. Sickness giving it right back to him. I have never seen a Zerg army dismantled like Sickness just dismantled IdrA's army. IdrA, you know, the only person he has a right to be angry at is himself because he had all his Corruptors in one clump, right? What do you think happens when you're doing that as a Zerg player? You get Vortexed and Sickness with the well-mannered I love you.
Oh,
and I think we're going to see probably not a GG from IdrA, but he still has a lot of Corruptors. But man, I don't know. I don't think things are going to go too well for our Zergy friend here in the blue.
That's our Zergy friend indeed. IdrA has certainly done his job, though, in taking 2 wins and still has a ton of banked resources and producing nothing but Zerglings for now, just going through all of his available larvae as quickly as he possibly can, keeping up with his injects as well. And, of course, against the mostly Blink Stalker force that's left, Zerglings are certainly not a bad idea.
Yep,
but there it is.
Boom.
He's left the game immediately after the FU and Dream Team Gaming has taken